to Peak TV. I'm Niv Dagan, Executive Director of Peak Asset Management. We've got Saurabh Jain, the Exec Chair of OPYL. Saurabh, really nice to see you.
G'day, Niv. Nice to see you again as well.
Saurabh, we're big supporters, as you know, and you've certainly been on the road with OPYL. Tell us a little bit
Mm.
how it all started.
Yeah, totally. It was the brainwave of our CTO, absolute genius guy called Dave Damon. He used to be into sports betting, and it's a funny game. But basically, there's 1,000 variables, and there's an outcome, and you got to figure out what variables lead to that outcome. And about a decade ago, he built a machine learning algorithm that solved that problem. They were doing tens of millions of dollars worth of throughput every month. And then what all he did probably about 3 years ago when he started to build out TrialKey, he actually tried to figure out, can I use the same logic in sports betting, making predictions of outcomes? Can I actually apply that for clinical trials? And 3 years and a whole bunch of money and a whole bunch of blood, sweat, and tears later, that's actually what we do. So we predict the outcome of clinical trials. And now we get that right with about 90% accuracy.
That's incredible. Um, AI is a big buzzword. How
Mm.
does it all integrate? How does it all work? And what impact does it have on users and the experience for CROs and also patients?
Yeah, totally. So basically, what we did and kind of how we did and how we kind of got this AI model to work is, so we got 350,000 clinical trials, all publicly available. People need to submit them as part of their FDA application. We built our own hyper-tuned version of ChatGPT that picks up about 1,000 variables per trial. So that's the AI part. Is we built a large language model that grabs all this data, and then we figure out what leads to a trial succeeding or failing. You give it a training set, you give it a testing set, and that's what we can do now with about 90% accuracy. So this is kind of AI solving a problem that was completely unsolvable before. Like AI making stuff better and quicker and faster. That's kind of cool, but that's kind of boring. But now AI is solving a completely unsolvable problem. And it sounds kind of crazy, right? Not really credible that I can actually tell you whether a clinical trial will succeed with 90% certainty before it starts. But that's the reality, right? That's what these really clever AI models can do now. So what it means for like the CROs and the patients of the world is they can really design the best trials possible to kind of make sure that they succeed.
I think one key that the users and those listening at home need to really understand is really this is more a lot beyond just spitting out a success of a clinical trial. It's got a lot more to it. So can you tell us a little bit of the platform, the obviously the probability of success, but the ability for CROs and companies and biotechs to actually simulate their own trials?
Yeah, totally. So where we started and what we launched our first iteration back in January was to predict the outcome of a trial, and that works in certain scenarios, and that's great for like the investment community. But what we pivoted to and really added on is what we call trial gen. So we will actually now generate a clinical trial. So it's super simple. You literally go through and say, look, I want to solve cancer. It's going to be a phase 3 trial. It's a drug, and this is the underlying compound or molecule. And we'll actually generate the trial that's most likely going to succeed. So we'll tell you how many patients you need, what endpoints, so what questions should your trial answer, and what questions should your trial answer that will get FDA approval and will maximize your chance of success. And then other things that people have never actually tried to solve for before is things like inclusion exclusion criteria. So, what patients should you include and which patients should you exclude? So, simple example: we've just finished designing a trial for a company called Brain Vector Neuro Device, dealing with depression. So, their original plan was to get patients from 18 to 100 years old. That was going to be their segment. But the AI model actually shows after about the age of 75, people tend not to respond to neurological devices for depression. So they've cut their peak at 75. They won't recruit over that. And it actually shows young people, so adolescents, people that are 13, 14, 15 years old, really respond well to these devices. So they actually ended up getting like 3 or 4% increase in their chance of success because Trial Gen was able to generate the best possible trial for them. They put their real world constraints on it, and then that's what they go forward with.
Yeah, that's incredible. And so you did touch about your target customers, but who are they and what do they look like and where's the opportunity?
Yeah, totally. So there's really two main segments. So the first segment is in the investor community. So the fundamental theory is a trial succeeding or failing for a small bio leads to a meaningful inflection point. So we've already got our first client there. We've licensed our tech off to a fund that's being set up. And as part of that, we collect 25% of all the fees that they generate. So we've got a nice lucrative deal there. The second set is more the bios, the farmers, and the sites and the CROs. So they're people that are designing a trial. So when they design a trial, they want to get the best possible trial that's going to succeed. They want to know who the competitor set is. What's the competitor's likelihood of success, and when do we predict they're going to succeed? And how hard is it to take their medication versus their peers? So, for example, someone like Paradigm, we did some work for them, knee osteoarthritis. So they put a needle into your knee, and they need to do it twice. They need to do it twice for every 2 weeks for a number of weeks. So they want to know, well, how does the effort of being on their trial compare to the other people? So, for example, if someone had a pill that was going to solve the same problem, that would be like a real threat for them.
And Saurabh, you've just recently signed a really an incredible MOU to really take TrialKey into global markets, the US, Middle East, obviously USA. Tell us a little bit about the opportunity and the group and the caliber of the group and what it means for the company.
Yeah, totally. Look, I think this will be the actual watershed moment for TrialKey. So a bit about what we signed. So we signed an MOU with a company that's backed by a billionaire, Greg Bayless, over in the States. He's done two of the 10 largest bio exits in the last decade. Um, High net worth individual, knows this space really, really well. So what we've signed the MOU is $1 million US cash for TrialKey to buy a license to resell our software. They'll have exclusivity to sell our software in EU, UK, and in North America. Anything they sell, we get a 40% royalty back to us as well. And they'll put $3 million US into this entity. So what it allows for us to do, well, there's a company. I mean, our market cap's tiny, right? Like we're like $4.5 million market cap business. It does actually allow like literally $4.5 million worth of cash to come into the organization to be invested in sales and marketing. And this group have a lot of connections. I mean, they've sold companies to most of the 10 top pharma. So we're actually quite excited. So now the goal is we've got a 3 month due diligence process. Is just to make sure that we can actually gate to some sort of binding agreement.
We're catching up with one of the directors tonight for dinner, so looking forward to that and yourself, Saurabh. So,
Yeah.
and Saurabh, just finally before we touch off, why should investors be buying Opal right now? Where's the opportunity? Where's the blue sky? What does the company look like in 12 months from here?
Totally. I mean, I guess the fundamental thing around TrialKey, it's probably cost about $20 million to build. That's been paid by previous shareholders, and now that's why the market cap is only 4.5. Um, we've spent a lot of time and built a really good product. We've got our first set of customers. We've got good product market fit, and now it's the time for the upside in an organization like this. To give you some context, like more than half my REM is script because I actually think there's a huge amount of upside in this business as well.
So it's been fantastic. Really, really enjoyed having you on Peak TV and look forward to seeing a lot of success. So thanks very much for joining us.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks, mate.